Hey everyone, and a huge welcome to the Nissan Broken Arrow team. Today, we're diving into a really exciting explainer mission together. We are going to look at exactly how to transition your service department from just passive order taking into an absolute powerhouse of proactive, consultative service advising. Seriously, you guys have some amazing data, some huge wins to celebrate, and a massive opportunity sitting right in front of you.
Okay, let's dive into this. Here's our clear, structured roadmap for today. We're going to cover 1. Winning the adoption battle, 2. The real conversion opportunity, 3. The power of follow-up, 4. Overcoming time and money, and finally, number 5, the Becca benchmark.
All right, part 1, winning the adoption battle. So before we even talk about where to improve, we absolutely have to validate the incredible foundation you've already built here. Honestly, the first half of the battle, it's already won. Just look at that number, 94.79%. That's your multi-point inspection, or MPI, send rate. Look, across the whole automotive industry, dealerships are fighting tooth and nail just to get their techs to adopt video MPIs. But not at Nissan. Your technicians are putting in the work, they're doing it consistently, and they're executing at a totally phenomenal level.
And it's not just the sheer volume of these videos. The quality and customer engagement are completely off the charts. You're hitting a 94% video send rate, an 86% customer view rate, and a 90% video quality confirmation when management reviews them. Because of your solid training and discipline, tech execution is just exceptional right now. Customers are actually getting these videos, they're super engaged with the visual proof, and they're actively participating in the process. Your technicians are literally delivering the ball exactly where it needs to be.
Moving right along to part 2, the real conversion opportunity. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that it shows a major pivot in our story. It's the gap between that incredibly high customer engagement we just talked about and the actual revenue realized on the service drive. During a recent analysis period, your techs identified a total additional service recommendation, or ASR opportunity, of $1.22 million. Of that, $273,325 was approved. But look at the rest. Nearly $948,000 in declined services was just left on the table. The need is definitely there. The techs are proving it, the customers are seeing it, but the revenue just isn't fully catching up. Which brings us to this specific metric, 22.4%. That is the current dealership average approval rate for these recommended services. And this pinpoints exactly where the drop-off happens. Think about it. Over 77% of perfectly identified, visually proven needs are just walking out the door unaddressed. Your service director, Justin Young, framed this massive drop-off absolutely perfectly. When he was looking at periods where sales had dipped, he pinpointed the root cause. He said, "We realized they weren't doing the declined service follow-up. They weren't asking. They were just order taking." It's so true, right? When the process discipline slips, the follow-up stops entirely, and suddenly, advisors shift from being helpful consultants to just taking orders. We really need to contrast these two mindsets. Order taking is inherently passive. It just accepts the initial no from a customer and moves on with zero follow-up. Consultative selling, on the flip side, is proactive. It genuinely seeks to understand why the customer is declining and actively works to address their specific roadblocks. If we want to close that massive financial gap we saw a minute ago, the whole service drive has to embrace this proactive, consultative partner mindset. Which leads us to part 3, the power of follow-up. This is the absolute primary lever you have to increase conversion rates on those services your techs have already identified. And the best part? It starts with a simple, structured follow-up process. Justin gave this brilliant example question. Did you understand why we recommended it? The goal here is definitely not high-pressure selling. We aren't trying to back the customer into a corner. The goal is genuine clarity. You're just checking to make sure the visual proof from the technician actually made sense to them. So, why is this simple follow-up discipline such a game changer? Well, based on your current ASR volume, if you can move your average approval rate from 22.4% to just 30%, you generate around $92,700 in additional approved revenue. And get this, that's without increasing your car count by a single vehicle. That is literally found money, just sitting there waiting for a simple follow-up conversation. Okay, let's look at part 4, overcoming time and money. So the crucial point is, once you ask that follow-up question, you're absolutely going to encounter objections. The absolute best way to handle them is by grouping them into 2 easy mental shortcuts on the service floor, time and money. If the customer's obstacle is time, you've got specific low-pressure pathways ready to go. First,
Just offer an Uber to get them back to work or home. Second, suggest one of your rental vehicles. And third, if they truly, absolutely cannot leave the car today, arrange the future scheduling right then and there. Lock it in. The key is to keep the customer moving forward.
Now, what if the issue is money? This is where you map out your consultative tools. First, and most importantly, offer flexible financing. You have fantastic tools at your disposal, like Digify Financing and Sunbit, that let customers break up the cost. Explain these payment options really clearly. Present alternatives if you need to. By making service more manageable financially, you make sure customers aren't delaying safety-critical repairs just because of a short-term cash flow hiccup. And this brilliantly illustrates another major tool in your consultative arsenal, the Nelson Maintenance Club app. When a customer is stressing about long-term costs, this app is your golden ticket to building comfort, confidence, and real cost savings. It locks them in for routine maintenance with great discounts and perks, ensuring they see you as a long-term partner in their vehicle's health, not just a one-off transaction.
And finally, part 5, the Becca benchmark. You don't even have to look outside your own dealership to prove these consultative strategies work. Just look at Becca's approval rate. It's 33%. Remember, the dealership average is 22.4%. Becca is outperforming the average by a massive margin. As Justin says, she is almost always in the green. This proves to the entire team that high conversion isn't just theory. It's entirely possible in your exact environment, working with your exact customers.
So, what exactly is Becca doing differently? It really boils down to Becca's playbook. First off, she sets expectations exceptionally well from the very moment the customer drops off the car. Second, she connects deeply with her customers, building real, genuine trust. And third, she consistently executes the follow-up process. She simply does not skip steps. This is a playbook that every single advisor on the drive can immediately replicate to drive up their own numbers. Which leaves us with one final provocative challenge. Are you ready to stop order taking and start driving the green? Seriously, think about it. You already have the world-class video inspections from your techs. You have the financing tools like Digify and the Nelson Maintenance app. You have the follow-up framework. Now, it's just about applying that consultative mindset with every single customer who walks through the door. So get out there on the service drive, start asking those right questions, and let's close that conversion gap.